All right, guys, thank you for joining me again. Appreciate it. This drone stuff is pretty interesting. It's going to get a lot more interesting, I could tell you that much. Um, but what I think the government is doing, and thank you for the 5 by 5 Billy, appreciate it. What I think the government is doing is why I told the 93 story, by the way. Let me get the 5 by 5s out of the way. Holy shitballs. Dolby, let's go. Prep to Adapt. Ozark, thank you for the 5 by 5 Paul S. Elaine, Uptech, Lisa, Greg Giorgio, Joe, thank you for the 5 by 5 Cowboy, Kathy, Stephanie, Teresa, Adam, Journey, thank you for the 5 by 5 Chanel, Finley, Tina, Raccoon Eyes, thank you for the 5 by 5 Looney, Tony, Judith, Devil Dog, Jeep Dog, Water Tiger, thank you for the 5 by 5 Ekte, Nohuan, Lexi, Outlaw, thank you for the 5 by 5 Sojourner, Renee, Colt, thank you for the 5 by 5 and NJ Prepper, Betty, Evolving Media, Gig Girl, Joe, thank you for the 5 by 5 Boats, CJ, Eric, Paul, Clay, CJ again, Patty S, Retired Prepper, Joanne, John, thank you for the 5 by 5 Monkey Wrench, excuse me, thank you for the 5 by 5 Sir Gregory, excuse me, thank you for the 5 by 5 Mateo, Adam, Sassy, Joa, thank you for the 5 by 5 All right, guys, so I think what the government is doing, guys, they're letting us come up with our own conclusion in regards to the what's going on with the drones or the orbs. Well, they haven't spoken about the orbs. They're actually probably not going. They're going to ignore those videos until more of those orbs start popping up. And when they pop up in a major city, because it probably will, in the United States, and millions of people are recording it, then they'll address it. But up until then, they probably won't. If that does happen. If it doesn't happen, then they won't speak of it. They'll avoid it like the plague. Anyway, they're waiting for us, or they're letting us come up with our own story, as they did with Flight 93. I said that again. Flight 93, they let us come up with our own conclusion, and then they ran with it. The United States military, from what I was told, they were going to admit shooting it down. But once the story of Flight 93 got out, they ran with that story, and they let their story lie. Meaning, they were ready to say something, and once that story came out, they were like, fuck it. Let's give the people the peace they need, or whatever it was. I tell you this much. Those family members don't want to hear that that plane was shot down. And Cheney gave the order, by the way. So, go figure. Yes, I am obsessed with drones. We are all obsessed with drones. Everybody who opens up a newspaper is like, holy shit, there's more drone sightings. I mean, again, I'm not worried about it. Like, not at all. Not even a little bit. Like, if they start shooting lasers and people start disappearing, then we got a problem. Up until that, I'm not worried about it. I think they're just showing themselves or whatever the fuck they're doing, or orbs, whatever they're doing. Anyway, tonight, guys, we're going to talk about a very controversial subject to those that do not want to hear the truth. That being YouTube and everybody else in the left fucking lane who don't want to sit here and listen to the truth that is. YouTube really complicated finding channels on here. Oh, Johnny 308, they did. So if you're a small channel, you will never be found on here. You used to be able to type in the exact channel's name, how they spelt it and everything, and it would pop in the search engine. They did some shit a few years back, and you can't find small channels. So that's a crazy shit. And if your channel is fairly big, you can type it in and they'll find you. But the best way to find a channel is going to Google, type that channel's name in, and then go from there. You'll find it faster through Google than you will. Anyway, the after-action review of Mr. 19 Pandemic. The lessons learned and a path forward. That is the name of the file, if you will. Let's see. Now, there is a lot to this page. It's 557 pages long. I cannot wait. I'm going to print this out and fucking read all of it. But while I was scanning through it, this is the one thing that jumped out at me. So it's on page 2 if you have a PDF file, but it's actually like the opening page. It's actually page 2, excuse me. So it's on page 2, And there's a whole letter at the beginning of it called, it says, Dear Colleagues, and then they go down this whole thing. And the end of the letter that's in the PDF file is Brad Wenstrup. You know what? What am I doing? Hold on. Excuse me. Come on, you motherfucker. There it is. I am going to put this in the chat, guys. You guys can read it as well. Why should I have all the fun? It's in the chat. You can open the link, download it, do whatever you have to do. Mass shooting in Maryland, 1 person killed, 9 people hurt. Thank you for the update, Adriana. But can we please have the 15-minute video length for small channels? Hunter Seth, I guess. I don't know. I mean, yeah. That's some bullshit you have to unlock. No, I'm not YouTube management. Thank you. But all right. So anyway, the second page, guys. This guy goes on the whole letter, right? He goes, 5 years ago, December 1st, 2019, was what would eventually be the first confirmed case of Mr. 19. After the event devastated the world at nearly never-before-seen proportions, leaving millions not here and millions more concerned about the long-term consequences. Mr. 19 was novel. The brightest scientists and medical experts were learning on the job how to determine how to treat both the underlying disease and the second-order side effects, which that didn't come until later. Now, he has a bunch of bullets after he makes all of those statements, and the first one that jumps out at me was, number 1, the possibility that Mr. 19 emerged from a lab and or research related to an accident is not a conspiracy theory. And that second one, Eco Health Alliance, I didn't hear about them until I started reading this, and Dr. Peter Daszak, should never again receive U.S. taxpaying dollars. Number 3, scientific messaging must be clear and concise, backed by evidentiary support, and come from trusted messengers, such as frontline doctors treating patients. Number 4, public health officials must work to regain America's trust. Americans want to be educated and not indoctrinated. This is all in a finding, an after-action report. The media did not talk about this. They didn't even fucking touch this. And I'm trying to get this out there more because people need to read this. The amount of information in here is insane. Number 5, they're throwing Andrew Cuomo under the bus on this one. Former New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo participated in a medical malpractice and publicly covered up the total number of nursing home fatalities in New York. Now, did he do it? I don't think he did. I think he knew there was a cover-up and he just kept his mouth shut. But he wasn't the head of that. But obviously, because he was in charge of the state, is why it went down the way it did. Now, in addition to these notable bipartisan successes, the selected subcommittee developed extensive findings, some of which include the U.S. National Institute of Health funded gain-of-function research in that lab over in China. The Chinese government, agencies within the United States government, and some members of international scientific community sought to cover up facts concerning the origin of where it came from. Number 3, Operation Warp Speed was a tremendous success. No, it wasn't. And a model to build upon in the future. The arm tickets, which are now probably better characterized as therapeutic, undoubtedly saved millions of lives by diminishing the likelihood of severe disease and or death. Rampant fraud, waste, abuse plagued the Mr. 19 response. Number 3 was bullshit. That was the worst shit I've ever read. It's categorized as therapeutic, the Mr. 19 arm ticket. All right. So now, yeah, Mayor Cuomo was the governor of New York State. Excuse me, if I didn't clarify that. Bonnie clarified it, so thank you. Our government. No, listen, the Sojourner. So as I was growing up, I trusted the government as far as I can throw them. And that was because, and some of you people might not agree with me on this one, but that was because I listened to these guys called One Percenter, right? So One Percenters were a group of dudes, Muslim guys, who would stand on the street corner yelling at white folks. They would motherfuck white people left and right. You cracker ass cracker, this, that, and, you know, I mean, yo, they would berate them. They're still around. They're not as heavy-handed as they used to be, but they were always shouting. And every time you would ask them, why the fuck are you shouting? I'm standing 2 feet away from you. Because my voice needs to be heard and carried. I'm like, shut up. So, of course, I never listened to them because they were always yelling and screaming. And anytime I passed by, like, brother, you going to listen to us? I'm like, no, not today. If you're going to stop fucking yelling, maybe I would. Anyway, I knew 2 of those guys on the side. And they were telling me all of this shit the government did. Everything from COINTELPRO to the Tuskegee experiments, all of that shit, and everything leading up to it. Everything they did with Native Americans, everything they did with slaves, everything they did with, what was it, either the Irish or the Polish. The American government treated people like shit for its duration. That being said, I didn't trust the government as far as I can throw them as a kid. I'm a grown-ass fucking man now. I really don't trust them. So anything that they say, I take with a grain of salt. But a lot of this shit in this report, it was everything we said not to do. So there was a couple more. Oh, let me finish reading this out. Number 5. The event era school closures will have enduring impact on generations of American children, and these closures were enabled by groups meant to service those children. I think they're talking about teachers' unions. The Constitution cannot be suspended in a time of crisis, and restrictions on freedoms sow distrust in the public. Prescriptions cannot be worse than the disease, such as strict and overly broad lockdown that led to predictable anguish and avoidable consequences. Again, this is just in page 3 of the document. Now, let me go to page 4. Okay, so now this is the table of content. This is page 4. This is actually 4 through 11. Now, I'm going to read the table of contents for you guys. You guys can, again, go on and look yourselves, but there's a lot of interesting shit in here, so forgive me also changing the wording around. So, Mr. 19, the disease that caused Mr. 19 likely emerged because of a laboratory and or related. Now they're trying to give China a wiggle room by stating it was an accident. And I'm going to get into something a little later because they believed something else. I think that's on page 38 of the PDF file, which would be page 1. It's page 38 on the PDF file when you look through it, when you scan through it, or slide 38, excuse me, and it's page 1 on the PDF file, excuse me. So, proximal origin of Mr. 19 was prompted by Dr. Anthony Fauci to disprove the lab leak theory. Right, I'm going to jump around a little bit, so excuse me. The U.S. National Institute of Health and National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease failed to oversee the EcoHealth Alliance. All right. They have a paycheck protection program, yada, yada, yada. Fraudulent unemployment insurance payments totaled more than $191 billion. Fraudulent unemployment insurance payments, $191 billion. A lot of motherfuckers are stealing. And I don't know anybody who got... Actually, the people I know who got that, they needed it. They deserved it. They lost their jobs. But there was a lot of fraud going around. All right. So... let's get to this part over here, the World Health Organization. This is, again, table of contents. The WHO failed to uphold its mission and caved to the Chinese Communist Party pressure. The Chinese Communist Party violated Articles 6 and 7 of the International Health Regulation with no repercussions. The World Health Organization's report regarding the origin of Mr. 19 was incomplete, misleading, and parroted the Chinese Communist Party's propaganda. Remember, the Chinese tried to push this bullshit on us, right? They tried to say that the United States started it. The World Health Organization's draft pandemic treaty does not solve the organization's underlying problem and may affirmably harm the United States. Let's see. Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this shit. This is the good shit that I wanted to get to, because I also don't want to be on here all fucking night. I'm going to be on here another... Okay, so this is another part they brought up in the table of contents, which is on page 212, excuse me. Forcibly masking young children ages 2 and older cause more harm than good. Page 215, enduring Mr. 19 lockdown unnecessarily harmed the U.S. economy. 215 as well, enduring Mr. 19 lockdown unnecessarily damaged Americans' mental health. That was for the week. Enduring Mr. 19 lockdowns disrupted the development of American children and youths, young adults, and Mr. 19 lockdowns unnecessarily served consequences for American physical health, meaning a lot of fat fucks got fat. And then they have a whole page on Cuomo and his bullshit, which is fucking bizarre. Despite lacking scientific basis, armed ticket passports became a de facto lockdown for unvaccinated Americans. That's page 218. Let's see. The March 25th directive was inconsistent with applicable federal guidance regarding hospitals to nursing home transfers and Mr. 19 related infection controls. That's page 230. Excuse me. My eye has been fucking twitching like non-stop for almost 3 weeks now, 4 weeks. Keeps bothering me. And then that's it. All right, so now let's get to page 38, which was on here's page 38. Excuse me. This was the more interesting part. So page 38 on the slide, or rather slide 38, is page 1 of the action report. Excuse me. So for 4 years, the onset of the worst event in 100 years, the weight of the evidence increasingly supports that there was a lab leak hypothesis, or there was a lab leak, excuse me. Since the selection committee commenced to work in February 2023, almost 2 years ago, more and more senior intelligence officials, politicians, science editors, and scientists increasingly endorsed the hypothesis that Mr. 19 emerged as a result of a laboratory and or research-related accident. Let's see. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The U.S. government has reason to believe that several researchers inside the lab in China became sick in the autumn of 2019 before the first identified case of the outbreak, with symptoms consistent with both Mr. 19 and seasonal illnesses. The June 2023 ODNI assessment entitled Potential Leaks Between the Wuhan Institute of Virology and the Origin of Mr. 19. The WIV, which is the Wuhan Institute Virology Lab, has a published record of conducting gain of research to engineered chimeric viruses. The June 2023, ODNI assessment supports this conclusion and went further in stating scientists at the place have created chimeras or combinations of SARS like Mr. 19's through genetic engineering, attempted to clone other unrelated diseases and use reverse genetic cloning sequences on SARS. The June 2023 ODNI assessment continued. Some of the genetic engineering projects on coronaviruses involve techniques that could make it difficult to detect intentional changes. This is on page 1, slide 38. If you pull up your PDF file, you know how it goes through the slides. That's slide 38, page 1. That's the first page after all of those fucking content bullshit. Prep to adapt. Thank you. You don't have to do that, but thank you for the donation. I appreciate it, guys. Let's see. Despite the WIV presenting itself as a civilian institute, the United States had determined that the WIV Wuhan lab collaborated on publications and secret project with China's military since 2017. Again, the June 2023 ODNI assessment supports this conclusion, stating WIV personnel have worked with scientists associated with the PLA on public health related projects and collaborated on biosafety and biosecurity projects. So that was leading into page 39. Now let's go to page 40. I'm sorry, slide 40, excuse me. So let's see. In June 2024, Mr. Wade voiced his increasing support of a lab incident origin. Mr. Wade astutely noted that SARS possessed a furin cleavage site, cleavage site found in none of the other 871 known members of its viral family. So it cannot have gained such a site through the ordinary evolutionary swap of genetic materials within the family, meaning it was forced or genetically modified. Within the natural environment of a furin cleavage site being non-existent, Mr. Wade further noted that EcoHealth and the WIV diffuse proposal, which was rejected by DARPA, sought to do what nature had not been ever known to do. Inserts a furin cleavage site into Mr. 19. It is therefore more just a coincidence that Mr. 19 emerged from the city with the lab preparing to conduct this research under cost-effective yet risky BSL-2 protocols. Biosafety Level 2 protocols, if I'm not mistaken. In June 2024, Dr. Chan explained 5 key points that support the lab leak scenario as more plausible than a zoonotic spillover. And I don't think they have the 5 points here. They don't. But it goes on further. There's a lot of shit in this after action report. I'm going to dive a little deeper into it, get more main points out of it. But they did state, they talked about, they also have Fauci emails in here where Fauci sort of downplayed it at the beginning, stating that this will pass, people will just look past it, it'll go away. Boy, was he wrong, right? So did Fauci help it spread? No. He even shrugged it off in the beginning, and then it became a thing. I love my chair. It's just a comfortable chair, but this chair is starting to break down. I think I'm starting to lose this chair too. Let me scan through some more. There was a page here that had emails in it, and actually it's slide 53, which would be page 16. They talk about Fauci and suggesting any more ways to sort of lie to the public about this. So there's, again, all of this is in here, and nobody's being charged with anything. Fauci's not being charged with fucking nothing. They're not bringing this up. He dived into cleavage. Yes, it is cleavage. I did say it right. And then remainder of the page reminds. Okay, sorry. Excuse me. There's a lot to here, man. I'm gonna find the place where they talked about masking kids or kids missing school and shutdowns. I want to mention that, and they do talk about the arm ticket, and I'm gonna show you how they talked about the arm ticket in a glorious way, as if it was fucking it was gonna save the world, and it didn't. And I mean, you saw what they said in the beginning. They said it was therapeutic, wasn't. So yeah, there's a lot. This is 500 and something pages. So I thought it was only a couple hundred pages, like 102. I looked today, I was like 500 fucking pages. I'm like, I can't read this whole fucking thing, and I have to print this out, highlight shit, scan it, and so I can upload it. Upload it so it's easier for me to find when I start looking it up. But there's a lot of emails in here. I mean, there's hundreds of emails in here. Email exchanges in here. Yeah, but anyway, like I said, I'm going to dive into this deeper. This is something, guys, I mean, and the truth is out in this. And for everybody who lost their channels for speaking out against exactly what this report is talking about as far as how it was handled, the things that didn't work, this also pointed out that social distancing did not work. There was no scientific backing. Fauci said it months before. And he said, we just threw it in there. Originally, they wanted everybody to stand, it was either 12 or 18 feet apart. That had no scientific backing. The surgical things across your face, that had no scientific backing. And yet, when people spoke about this on their channel and how it didn't work, their channels got deleted or demonetized. Now there's proof, evidence that all of this stuff was said by Fauci not to have worked and wasn't going to work, but that they needed something to calm the public down. And this was them trying to calm the public down, telling us to put something over our face. Go figure. All of it a lie. YouTube, other Facebook, Instagram kicked people off. And the truth is out. And you think that they would fucking reinstate any of these people? Probably not. But these people should sue the shit out of them. That's for fucking sure. Yes, Paul S. So conspiracy theorists are right. Go fucking figure. And I'm probably still going to get demonetized for this, but whatever. You know, it is what it is. But it's just, this needs to get out more. I mean, I should mention this in every video. Read this fucking thing. You're going to be fucking surprised. Not even surprised. You just look at it and go, we were fucking right. Chanel, I have Cash App. I try not to use it, but I have Cash App. Not a big fan of it. Anyway, this is just more bullshit. I mean, like, now everybody, this should be a Christmas gift for your left-leaning lunatic friends. You print this out, you give it a nice binder, you front cover, back cover, you put it in a box, you wrap it up for a Christmas gift, and you give it to your dumbass friends who unfriended you, didn't want to talk to you anymore because you didn't want to take an arm ticket. All of that shit that they did, you should give them this as a gift. And then, like, at the back of the page, it should say fuck you in big letters or a giant middle finger in the back. You choose. But this insanity, guys. People lost friends and stopped talking to family members over this shit. And everything was wrong. Southern Cat Lady, Prep to Adapt, put the link in the chat. I think she put the link in the chat. Listen, guys, you don't have to. I appreciate the donations. You don't have to give me donations. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's very appreciative. But what's more appreciative if you just watch the videos. That's all. You watch my videos, even my low-scoring videos. That's free. Just watch it. Play the shit and walk away. I don't care. But that's a form of donation. Just watching the videos. But yes, so yeah, give your friends a stocking stuffer. That'd be a big ass stocking stuffer. But yeah, roll it up and then drop it in the stocking, you know? Because so many people lost friends over this shit. Again, family members lost their jobs over this shit. Jobs. Forget about YouTube and demonetize. People lost their jobs over this shit. And here we are. Mind-boggling. Mind-boggling and it's funny, I knew that the truth was going to come out. Again, I thought it was going to be in another few years. I thought maybe like 5 more years down the line that it was going to come to light. Maybe 20 years down the line it will come to light. I didn't think that a lot of this shit was going to unfold as fast as it did. And the fact that they found all of this shit, you know, like they looked at it and go, well, we fucked this up. You know, like, no shit, you fucked this up. We knew you fucked this up. We knew from the beginning you fucked this up. But yet, you try to make us look like idiots. You try to make us look like morons. And, in fact, we were all right. Insanity. Anyway, I'm going to head off for here now, guys. I'm going to see some of you guys tomorrow for the midweek report, the Wednesday midweek report on here. I have a doubleheader Thursday for the Angry Prepper, Angry Truth. And then the Angry Prepper Fitness channel, I think I'm going to do another live stream talking about health and staying healthy and all that other bullshit. Because we're coming into the new year, and what better way than to start lining your body up right for the New Year's. Treat your body like a whore in a fucking whore shop now, but when 2025 comes in, you should have a new regimen. Other than that, guys, I do appreciate your support. I appreciate you guys watching my video. And you could definitely, again, watch my videos instead of giving me donations. DMA, angryprepper@yahoo.com. Other than that, guys, I will see some of you guys tomorrow morning. The rest of you guys Thursday for the doubleheader. Good night.